With the regular season tipping off on Tuesday, October 24th, the Warriors have shown nothing but readiness and excitement throughout all 5 games of preseason. Despite being called the preseason, many of these games had the same fierceness and atmosphere of that of a regular season game. The back-to-back Kings games were filled with plenty of clutch moments, such as the young Warriors squad gathering an overtime win in Sacramento, or when Steph Curry had an explosive fourth quarter and ultimately hitting the game-winning shot. Throughout all these preseason games, there's been a level of intensity that we've never seen the Warriors play at during this time of the year. It seems as if the Warriors really want to start off the season strong, which they failed to do so last year. The West this year is going to be as competitive as it's ever been, and it's vital the Warriors continue this momentum they built into the season. Losing 1 or 2 games against easy teams can be the difference between being the 3rd seed or the 7th seed by the end of the year. These preseason games gave us a nice glance of newly added Warrior Chris Paul, as well as other additions of Saric and Corey Joseph. Anyway, in this video, I will be sharing my biggest takeaways from this preseason. Before I get into that, let me just let you guys know that once again this is preseason, so everything that happens here means we should just take it with a grain of salt. Preseason is only 5 games long, and the entire regular season is 82 games long, so things will no doubt change compared to what is happening right now. With that being said, let's get into it. My biggest takeaway, and that is obviously to address the elephant in the room, is Jonathan Kuminga's performance in preseason. Kuminga averaged 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. If that isn't crazy enough, he did it on 57, 45, and 75 shooting splits. For someone whose strongest weakness heading into the NBA was shooting, this is as good of a shooting improvement as it gets. Overall, Kuminga's game has looked the most polished I've ever seen it. There are many aspects of his game that look very improved, such as his aggression and decision making. While Kuminga had plenty of aggression in the past, the game seems to have slowed down for him as his aggression now is much more controlled and he seems to understand when to go 100% or when to take it down a notch. This improved aggression has gotten him a lot of trips to the free throw line as he averaged 7.4 free throws per game. If you watch my Jonathan Kuminga assessment video I uploaded mid-summer, I noted that based on Kuminga's playstyle, he will take plenty of trips to the line, and one thing that he'll have to do is improve his free throw shooting. Kuminga himself seems to agree with me on that statement, as in a recent interview he said his goal for the season is to shoot at least 75% from the line. In addition, I just love his confidence when shooting the ball. Even when at the 3-point line, when he's open, he will not hesitate to let it fly. Kuminga in a recent interview noted that his mindset has changed when it comes to shooting the ball, essentially saying that now he wants to make defenders pay for leaving him open. While it's only been 5 games, I think Jonathan Kuminga has proved that he will be a vital bench piece for this upcoming season. It is very much possible that he will be in contention for Most Improved Player award, but all of that is up to Steve Kerr if he lets him play through his mistakes. The next takeaway I have is how extremely versatile the Warriors are at the center position. The big man trio of Looney, Saric, and Trayce Jackson-Davis gives the Warriors an incredible amount of options on how they want to play. If the Warriors want to get big and focus on rebounding and defense, they go with Looney. If the Warriors want to push the pace and add interior scoring, they go with Jackson-Davis. If the Warriors want to run a 5-out with smooth ball movement, then they go with Saric. Speaking of Saric, I can't believe how well he fits into this team. He's like a better version of Nemanja Bjelica. Although Bjelica might have better range, Saric is by far the better passer. His ability to make plays as the roll man like Draymond gives the Warriors a whole nother dynamic in their offense. I noticed when Chris Paul and Dario were both on the floor, the ball movement was truly a beauty to watch. In addition to his playmaking skills, his inside game is very underrated. His mix of great footwork and the use of the pump fake is so effective when getting buckets in the paint. Let's also talk about Trayce Jackson-Davis, who despite playing all 4 years in college, continues to prove how much he was a steal going that late in the 2nd round. Like I said in my Summer League video, he just seems to always be at the right place at the right time. Whether that is rolling to the basket through a pick and roll or sitting in the dunker spot, he just knows how to get himself open on the court. I'm really excited to see the kind of production he can bring as he continues to get situated in the NBA. The 1st round pick, Brandin Podziemski, also looked really impressive in preseason. Flashback to Summer League, I remember how worried everyone was with how poorly he was shooting the ball. At the time, I mentioned how I wasn't worried at all about his shooting performance because all the other aspects of his game, such as playmaking, rebounding, and defense, looked really solid. For the first few games of the preseason, I was really impressed with his playmaking. He legit looked like a floor general and he just knew where to pass it. He had a 10 assist game versus the Lakers on October 14th. He had some very nice looking passes to GP2, one which was a lob on the fast break, and then one was another one where he found him cutting on the baseline. My last takeaway, although it's more of a concern, is on Moses Moody. On Friday night's game versus the Spurs, Moody wasn't on the floor for the entire first half. It wasn't until 4 minutes into the 3rd quarter that Moody was subbed in. I could be overreacting, but I really hope Steve Kerr isn't viewing Moody as the odd man out in the guard-heavy rotation. Moody has proved time and time again since last season that he deserves consistent minutes. He was one of the few bench pieces on the team that was reliable during the playoffs. There's been discussion on reasons on why Steve Kerr made this decision, but many agree that it was due to Klay's shooting slump in preseason. It is believed Kerr wanted to give Klay more runs in order to try to find his shot again, which resulted in Moody not playing. Hopefully that is the case, because I don't want to go through the same cycle where Moody has to once again fight his way back into the rotation when he's clearly a rotational piece on the team. Anyway, those are my biggest takeaways from the 5 games of preseason. I'm very excited for Tuesday night's tip-off versus the Suns. It'll be Durant's first time back at home with fans. I think the Warriors have a legit squad this season that will create an exciting 82-game regular season as they go into the hunt for a 5th championship. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and thanks for watching, and go Warriors!